Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Criterion. And good news, I've nearly completed my special feature on films in the Criterion collection from 1984, their inaugural year, and that's coming to the channel soon. In this edition, we look back to a GW Pabst silent classic, Pandora's Box, coming to the collection on Blu-ray. Louise Brooks was a silent movie star who soared into the ascendancy. An American film actress during the 1920s and 1930s, she is regarded today as an icon of the flapper culture. In part due to the bob hairstyle that she helped to popularise during the prime of her career. Her screen debut was in The Street of Forgotten Men, in an uncredited role in 1925. Soon, she was playing the female lead in a number of silent light comedies and flapper films over the next few years, starring with Adolphe Menjou and W.C. Fields, among others. The studios MGM and Paramount Pictures offered her contracts. Now, the German film industry was Hollywood's only major rival at that particular time, and the film industry was based in Berlin and was known as the Filmwelt, or the film world. It reflected its self-image as a highly glamorous, exclusive club. After their arrival in Weimar, Germany, she starred in the 1929 silent film Pandora's Box. This was directed by Pabst in his New Objectivity period. Now, Pabst was one of the leading directors of the Filmwelt, known for his refined and elegant films that represented the Filmwelt at the height of its creative powers. His film, based on Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill's musical creation, the Threepenny Opera, is actually in the Criterion collection, and it's Spine 405, available on DVD. The film Pandora's Box is based on two plays written by the German author Frank Wedekind, Erdgeist and Die Bücher der Pandora. Brooks's performance in Pandora's Box made her a star, and in looking for the right actress to play the part of Lulu, Pabst had rejected very popular actress at the time, Marlene Dietrich, as too old and too obvious. And in choosing Brooks, a relative unknown who had only appeared and not to very great effect in secondary roles, Pabst was going against all the advice of those experts around him. Now, Brooks claimed that her experience shooting Pandora's Box in Germany was a pleasant one. The film opens with her flirting with the man who has come to read her meter. Now, she's soon after visited by an old man who seems to be her father or her boss. She affectionately sits on his lap and she dances for him. Now, of course, she was a very prolific dancer. She pours out alcohol until they are disturbed by a man who has his own keys. It is heavily implied that he's rich and he's paying for the lavish apartment. Now, it's clear Lulu isn't a prostitute, but she financially benefits from her various relationships that she has with men. Now, the man, we discover, is a newspaper editor, and he tells her that he's getting married, so their affair must come to an end. Now, from there are many twists and turns take place in the film, and we see Lulu in a range of different predicaments. Now, while not necessarily innocent in a lot of her encounters, she is a particularly endearing character, and you quickly find yourself rooting for her, despite her promiscuous intentions at times in the film. A particular example of this is the look that she shoots at the editor's fiancé after she steals him from her wicked and cold. The restoration of the film is fantastic, especially considering how little they actually had to work with. Apparently, there were only 3 versions of the film still in existence, each as damaged as the last. because this would have been filmed on nitrate stock, and it degrades. Interestingly, many believe this to be the first international LGBT film as well. Lulu's relationship with her lesbian friend is undistinguished, but the director, Pabst, implies that there is more going on, especially when they dance together, and it looks as though she will be the next to be seduced by Lulu's enticing smile, before they are interrupted. Now, overall, in all honesty, I didn't expect Pandora's Box to be quite for me. But despite that, in my opinion, the ending leaves a little to be desired. It was an end-to-end entertaining film throughout, and even though there isn't much for me to compare it to in its genre particularly, I can certainly see why it would be considered as one of the defining films of its era. Now, I would certainly recommend seeing it for a plethora of reasons. The primary one of those being that it does a fantastic job of telling a story without leaning heavily on dialogue. Now, the occasional subtitle screen, which appears, of course, but so much of the film is easily interpreted without these screens. And a final reason that you should see Pandora's Box is that it clearly is a trailblazer in film. Now, from what I can tell from the research I've done, it is the first huge film to actually celebrate women's sexuality as being equal to that of men. And expanding on that, there aren't many films from this era where men are punished for their exploitation of women. Certainly something that features heavily in Pandora's Box. Now, in the UK, Eureka released a version of Pandora's Box on Blu-ray in October of last year. Now, this particular edition had a hardbound case and it featured artwork by Tony Stella. It was a 1080p HD presentation on Blu-ray, and it was defined from a 2K digital restoration. And there was a 60-page bound book with it as well. So, as always, it will be your choice as to which version you choose to acquire, this one or the Criterion release. It would be remiss of me not to mention the Eureka version, though. Now, Pandora's Box from 1929 is a terrifying film. Austrian director GW Pabst uses extreme close-ups to create an intimacy with the characters to rattling effect, while Gustav Diesel's performance as Jack the Ripper is positively bone-chilling. Now, the film comes to Criterion on Blu-ray in the US with the following features. A new 2K digital restoration. We have 4 musical scores by Gillian Anderson, Dimitar Penchev, Pierre Rabin and Stefan Oliva. Audio commentary from the film scholars Thomas Elsa Esser and Marianne Dwan. Louise Brooks, Looking for Lulu from 1998. That's a documentary by Hugh Munro-Neely. Lulu in Berlin from 1971. A rare interview with the actor herself, Louise Brooks, with Richard Leacock and Susan Steinberg-Wall. Interviews with Leacock and Michael Pabst, the director's son. And of course, as always, we have an essay by critic Jay Hoberman, a regular contributor to Criterion, notes on the scores, and Kenneth Tynan's 1979 The Girl in the Black Helmet. And we also have an article by Brooks on her relationship with the director GW Pabst. And cover art for the release is by another regular contributor, Eric Skellman. The film has a running time of 141 minutes, quite long for a silent film, and comes in a 1:3:3:1 aspect ratio, and it releases on Tuesday the 15th of October in the Criterion Collection as existing spine number 358, as it already had a DVD edition at some point in the past. Daring and stylish, Pandora's Box remains one of silent cinema's great masterworks, and indeed it's a testament to Louise Brooks's dazzling individuality. Coming in the next edition of Let's Talk Criterion, we'll be taking a look at Harmony Korine's film Gummo, which is coming to the collection in the US and the UK on 4K UHD. So, as always, until next time, from me, it's goodbye, and above all, good Criterion viewing.